Hello guys, it's Mr. McTaco. Before this video starts, I just wanted to quickly address something that happened recently. The channel hit 100 subscribers. I know it's around 125 now, but I've just been thinking of something good to do for, um, this milestone. It might not seem like a lot, but I've been working on this channel for almost 4 years now, so hitting 100 subscribers is definitely not something I expected to happen. I kind of just started this as a place I could share videos on my interests, and recently I've just been getting a lot of attention. A couple of my videos have been gaining a lot of views. So if you guys have been around for a long time, or if you're new from if you've watched one of my videos recently for the first time, I want to thank all of you for continuing to enjoy my videos, commenting and liking and subscribing, and I'll definitely try and release more. I've got some ideas for videos that should be coming out soon. If you know me, you know my upload schedule is a little wonky, but I definitely have some ideas that I want to work on, and hopefully I'll be able to complete those. So anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. I'll just be showing a build that I've made in Minecraft. I worked really hard on it, and if you guys want to see more of these sort of build showcases, be sure to like the video and comment down below. But anyway, roll the intro. Hello guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. This one's a special because it is my 100 subscriber special. I've thought a lot about what I wanted to do. Did I want to make a even bigger cake like my most popular video? Did I want to do some sort of 100 related challenge? But I decided to do something and share one of my creations that I am quite proud of. And that is a building in Minecraft. Now, I've always loved pixel arts, and, you know, building them, and then where do you display them? Where do you display your pixel arts? And I decided to make a museum. This is my museum. Hopefully, eventually, it'll be filled with art. For the time being, I've just built the structure and the inside and all that. But currently, it doesn't have any art, so that's a thing that needs to be added. But other than that, it is complete, and I wanted to share some tips and sort of the process that this has gone through to be built. So we'll start off just with the shape. Why is this wall such a weird shape? As you can see, it's kind of a wonky shape on the outside. It's all lumpy and weird. But basically, my idea was to take a biome and raise the entire biome up. So this grass area is actually exactly the borders of a plains biome. This is an entire plains biome, just a really, really small one, and it's completely surrounded by a dark oak forest. And so I raised up the platform. I added some walls, as you can see here, and that sort of just sets it apart from the environment around it, and I think it turned out looking really good. So we can start from the front. As you can see, we just have a nice path here. I used some buttons and pressure plates to kind of offset the flatness and give it some dimension. That's a trick that you can always use while making pathways, or want to detail some stone. So you have a stone cliff, you can add some buttons just to give it a little bit of extra dimension, as you can see. We can start on the building itself. The first thing I did was I knew I wanted to have some sort of central dome. So I started by, building just a big circle on the ground. And then I just had some rectangles going out just so I could get the general shape of what I wanted to do. So I knew that the dome would be a little bit hard to do. So first I actually started with this front area. I had looked at some pictures of museums, and often they use a lot of pillars, a lot of whiter stones. So I started with that. I added some pillars of different sizes, and I kind of had them going in a little bit of a rounded um, shape so that it would match with the building, the main building itself. The roof took a little while to do. I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted it to slope up to the top, but I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted it to look beside that. So I decided to go with this sort of design. Kind of just came up with it. It kind of goes out like an overhang. And of course, using some of the new 1.16 blocks, we got some chains with lanterns, look very nice. And even this lodestone can make a very good focal point for some sort of design. I also added some bushes. When in doubt, always add some bushes. It gives a little bit of an extra color and life to your build. We have some windows here, and one thing I wanted to do with this build is use some blocks that I don't often use, and one of those is a mushroom block. I've never really found a super good use for it in building, as I mostly do futuristic, but in this build I was able to incorporate it as some of the wall color for this bottom area, and also the mushroom stem as well up there. From the balcony, I moved on to this wing over here. I started just with the walls, came up with some window designs, and I added some of this detailed trim as well. When doing this, you kind of just want to break up the texture every once in a while. Use different blocks like stone bricks and cobblestone, offsetting them, just so it's not all the same look. You just want to change it up so it doesn't get too texture heavy on one type of texture. I wanted to add a little bit of a dome over here, which I think came out pretty good, and a large window going around here as well. I just made sure to break up the glass with some pillars and other things like that, and I think it came out pretty good. As you can see, I just mirrored the other wall design on this side. You don't always have to have every wall look spectacularly different. Especially in this kind of scenario, you can have symmetrical walls. You can have walls that match each other. And, I still think it turns out pretty good. As you can see on the roof, I just went with some granite, but I mixed in some of the unpolished granite as well. Kind of just makes it look like the roof has been weathered a little bit. Roofs, they don't look all exactly the same, so you can add a little bit of a different look as well. The next thing I did was this back area. I wanted to have some sort of wall support on the bottom of the wall, as this is really when I started taking inspiration from real museum pictures. I always saw that they had some sort of thicker part at the bottom. Usually it's white, but I wanted to do a different color, so I went with some grays. As you can see, I also used some of this polished basalt and even a little bit of polished blackstone wall just to give it a little bit of dimension and color. For the walls, I went with smooth sandstone. It's got a nice color that pairs well with the mushroom stem and the terracotta, so I wanted to use that in this area. Also making use of the pillars, of course. And another thing I did on this side was I used this sort of trim piece. I'm not sure exactly what you would call it, but I just used some stairs with some slabs on top, and it makes a pretty cool effect. And I wrapped that all around this wing. Also for this wing, I wanted to go with a square area on the end instead of a circle. So of course that's what I did. I made a square and kind of went with the same look as the hallway going down to it, but this added some more glass here. Another trick is just to add buttons. Buttons are great. They can just make, as I said with the path, they just add a little bit of dimension. and they're small. You don't have to do a whole block of gray. You can just do just a little bit on some white just to break it up a little bit. On this top here, I tried to make use of some more white blocks, so I used some bone block here in these little insets to give some different coloration to this little roof area. As you can see for here, I also used more of the granite texturing. I went with granite for pretty much the whole roof, as I think it tends to look pretty good. So that's what I did for the roof. I had a little trouble coming up with what to do on the main structure, so I just added some little details, using more of these lodestones. The textures is really, really nice on here. And adding just some banners to break up the monotony of the color. As you can see over on the sides, I also did a similar thing with these little stone structures. And then on the front, I added some big windows. I decided to use some chains here, and I think it actually looks really, really good. I really like how these windows turned out. Trying to slope them around the curve was a little bit tricky, but I think they actually came out pretty good. And so yeah, I actually kind of like how these windows turned out. It does make the front look a little bit like a face, but sometimes that just happens in your build, and you kind of got to roll with it. Over here, as you can see, I wanted to add another shorter wing, so I kind of copied the windows over there and just made a shorter wing over here with more of a classic museum facade on the front, on this little side balcony over here. And I think that actually came out pretty good, this little roof area. And this railing, also still just making use of slabs and stairs. Pretty easy, not too hard. I used some fences, or not fences, I used some signs around the bottom here just to, again, break up the texture. It's all about you diversifying the texture so it looks more detailed. But yes, I just added some windows here. I added some skylights on the top just to, break up the roof a little bit, which I hadn't had in the other two areas. And that's basically it. I added a dome on top. I just used a Minecraft sphere generator and just did layer by layer with glass. And then I added some other, blocks just to break up the glass, make it look like it's being supported in this framework and things like that. And it looks okay. I'm not a huge fan of the black ring, but I think it looks okay. Quickly, we'll just run around the outside. I just tried to fill it up with as much as I could. Little pedestals and podiums, fountains. I made some custom trees just for by the walls there, adding little bushes and things around the trim. I just used World Edit to copy these trees. I rotated them a couple times, just so they wouldn't look too repetitive. And then I made some bigger trees, as you can see right here. I also copied those a few times just around, just to add some foliage. As you can see, more of these trees around here. I added a maze over here. I don't know why. I added a maze. That's all you need to know. And some more of this foliage. Is more plant life and gardens over here. As you can see over here, I tried to do some sort of museum exhibit, kind of like a, an exhibit of an old house, and a fountain, of course. Don't want to make the video too long, so I'll just run through the interior real quick. I made sure to make all the walls nice. I added a large support structure in the middle that appears to be holding up the dome. I added some second floor walkways. Maybe you can have some paintings up here with a spiral staircase in the middle. Also made sure to have plenty of lighting so there was no dark areas at all. Just used the lanterns. I think they look really good, the orangey with everything else. I think they just look really nice. And then a chandelier over here. As you can see, I didn't do too much decoration on the inside, but just making sure that things were covered and looked a little bit nicer than if it was just empty. But, yeah. that's about it. I'm not too good at showing off my builds, but I hope you guys enjoyed. I had a lot of fun building this building. It was definitely a little bit of a different one for me. Um, I don't really usually build in this style very much, so it took a while to make. And so I'd be happy for any feedback you have about it. But yeah, anyways, I want to thank you guys again for 100 subscribers. Thank you so much for that. And I think that's all I have to say. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe and comment if you enjoyed it. And without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Have a great day. It's been Mr. McTaco, and I'm out. Goodbye.